Listen to me. I need you to hear me right now. Too many of you are waiting on that big moment, that big paycheck, that big transformation. You want to know how the greats do it, how the legends are made. They don't just wake up one day and win. No, they celebrate that first mile run when they couldn't run half a block last month. They celebrate waking up at 5 a.m., even when their bodies scream for sleep. They celebrate 1 a.m. after failing 3 classes. Because when you celebrate the small wins, you fuel your fire. You build confidence. You create momentum. Don't wait for the world to clap for you. Clap for yourself when nobody's watching. Honor your effort. Respect your grind. And I promise you, you keep stacking those small wins, and one day, boom, you look back and realize you climbed the mountain one. So today, I challenge you, celebrate your small win. Not tomorrow, today. Tiny victory, that's your foundation, that's your power. Keep going, keep grinding, keep winning. You've been told to go big or go home. You've been told to shoot for the stars, think massive, make bold moves. And while all of that has its place, I'm here to tell you something different today. I'm here to tell you that if you want to go big, if you want to change your life, if you want to build unshakable confidence, you need to start by celebrating the small win. I said it, the small win, the stuff nobody else sees, the stuff nobody claps for, the quiet victories. That's where your confidence is born. That's where it grows. You don't wake up one day confident. That's not how this works. Confidence is not something you're born with, it's something you build. And how do you build it? Brick by brick, win by win, small step by small step. You don't run the marathon on day one. You run around the block. And when you get back, tired, sweating, breathing heavy, instead of saying it's not enough, you say, oh, let's go. I did that. You acknowledge that moment. You celebrate it. Because that one block, that 1 mile, that's your starting line. That's your momentum. I see too many people waiting for the world to hand them something big so they can finally feel worthy, waiting for some big win to finally feel confident, like they earned the right to be proud. Well, that's the trap. That's the lie. You build your belief system in the trenches when no one's watching, when the progress looks small, when the scoreboard barely moves. But you're still putting in the work. You're still showing up. And every time you show up and follow through, no matter how small the task, you're sending a message to yourself. I keep my promises. I'm disciplined. I'm capable. That message, repeated every single day, becomes your identity. That identity becomes your confidence. It's not about lifting the heaviest weight in the gym. It's about showing up on the days when your body hurts, your mind says no, and still choosing to lift what you can. It's not about finishing the entire book in one night. It's about reading 10 pages when you didn't feel like reading at all. You celebrate those 10 pages because it's 10 more than you would have read if you stayed in bed. You understand what I'm saying? Let me be real with you. Confidence grows through consistency. And the only way to be consistent is to recognize the power in your progress. You've got to see it. You've got to feel it. You've got to acknowledge it. If you keep telling yourself that what you did doesn't matter because it's not big enough, you're killing your own drive. You're burying the very energy that's trying to push you forward. I know what it's like to be on the bottom. I know what it's like to feel like your best isn't good enough. But you know what changed my life? It wasn't one giant leap. It was stacking small wins, day after day. I woke up on time, made the call I didn't want to make. I stayed in the room when I wanted to quit. And each time I did those things, I told myself, that's a win. I didn't care how small it looked. Because every small win was a step towards something greater. Every small win built my character, built my reputation, built my confidence. It's like lifting weights. You don't start by bench pressing 300 pounds, you start where you are. Maybe it's just the bar, and that's okay. That's more than okay. That's the beginning. And every rep you do is a reminder. I'm getting stronger. You might not see it right away. The mirror might not show it yet. But internally, something is happening. Your spirit is getting stronger. Your mind is getting sharper. And before long, you're not just lifting heavier, you're walking taller. You're speaking with certainty. You believe in your own ability because you got the receipts. You've got the history. You've been showing up for yourself over and over. Listen, I don't care where you started. I don't care how many times you fail. I don't care how small your progress looks to other people. This is not about them. This is about you. This is about your journey, your discipline, your growth. You don't even want an explanation for why you celebrate what you celebrate, what you celebrate. You got out of bed when depression told you not to. That's a win. You drank water instead of grabbing a soda. That's a win. You said no to the distraction, yes to the discipline. That's a win. Every small win is evidence that you are not who you used to be. Evidence that you're evolving. You've got to track that. You've got to own it. Because when life punches you in the face, and it will, you're going to need that confidence to push through. You're going to need that track record to remind yourself, I've been through worse. I've done harder. I've overcome. But you can't draw from a well you never fill. You got to start pouring into it now. And you pour it with every little win. This isn't about being arrogant. This isn't about patting yourself on the back for nothing. This is about building emotional strength, mental toughness, and that comes from recognizing effort, not just outcomes. That comes from rewarding process, not just results. Because you can't control everything in life. You can control your focus. You can control your attitude. And you can control your attitude, and you can control how you respond to your own progress. So the next time you do something that pushes you even slightly forward, take a second. Acknowledge it. Celebrate it. Let yourself feel the joy of growth. Let yourself feel that inner pride. That's your fuel. That's your light. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You just need to know you are moving in the right direction. And the more you celebrate those small wins, the faster your confidence grows. And when your confidence grows, your actions get bolder. You start aiming higher. You start demanding more from yourself. Why? Because you've proven to yourself that you can handle it. You've got the track record. You've built the muscle. It all starts small. Everything does. So don't you ever look down on your progress just because it's not loud, just because it's not flashy. The small wins are sacred. Treat them like they matter, because they do. They're shaping you into the person you were born to be. Now go out there, stack the small wins, build the confidence, and become unstoppable. Momentum is everything. And I'm not just saying that to hype you up. You want to change your life. You want to level up. You want to get out of that rut you've been stuck in. Then you need momentum. You need motion. You need movement. Because nothing happens until you move, and nothing keeps happening unless you keep moving. I've seen too many people with big dreams, big goals, huge potential, but they stay stuck. Not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because they never built momentum. They never got going. They're waiting for the perfect time, waiting to feel motivated, waiting until everything lines up. But let me tell you something right now. If you keep waiting for perfect, you'll be waiting forever. You don't wait for momentum. You create it. You build it. You spark it with small actions, with small wins, with small choices, and then you keep feeding it. Think about a train sitting still. That train can weigh hundreds of tons, but it can be stopped by a single block of wood placed in front of its wheels because it has no momentum, no movement. But that same train, if it's already going 60 miles an hour, that little block of wood gets obliterated. Nothing can stop it. Why? Because of momentum. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. When you're stuck, the smallest obstacle can shut you down. But once you start moving, once you get going, those same obstacles that used to stop you, they don't even slow you down. You don't even notice that. You see, the problem isn't always the goal. It's not that you're dreaming too big. It's not that you want. The problem is you never created the rhythm. You never built the routine. And when you don't have rhythm, you lose your fire. When you don't have rhythm, every task feels heavy. Every decision feels hard. But when you got momentum, it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, yeah, but it picks up speed. It picks up size. It becomes unstoppable. That's how champions operate. That's how successful people keep rising. Not because they're better than you, but because they never let the wheel stop turning. Look, I know it's hard to get going, especially when you've been stuck for a long time, especially when you've been knocked down, distracted, discouraged. I get that. I've been there. But you don't wait until you feel better. You don't wait until you're in the mood. You move first, and the feeling follows the action. That's the secret. You take the first step. You make the call. You show up to the gym. You open the book, and your brain starts to catch up. Your heart starts to catch up. The fire comes back only because you lit the spark. You don't have to do everything at once. That's another lie you've been sold, that you gotta fix your whole life in one day. You just need to do one thing today that moves you forward. One thing, and then tomorrow you do one more, and then another. Before you know it, you're in motion. You're doing things without overthinking. You're getting results without second guessing. And that's the zone you need to be in. Momentum makes everything easier. Not because life gets easier, but because your mindset gets stronger, your body gets in sync, your habits get tight. Your discipline kicks in. What used to drain you now drives you. What used to feel impossible now feels automatic, but you'll never get there if you keep stopping and starting, stopping and starting. That's not how momentum works. You don't build it with one intense day. You build it with consistent days. You build it by not quitting, by not taking your foot off the gas every time things get uncomfortable. Because guess what? Growth is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable, but so is regret. So is mediocrity. So is being stuck in the same place year after year. Let me talk to the person who's been hustling but hasn't seen results yet. You've been grinding and you're thinking about quitting because the numbers aren't there, the recognition isn't there, the success isn't there. But let me tell you, success is not always immediate. It's a lagging result of consistent effort. You might not see it yet, but if you've been showing up daily, momentum is being built in the background. You can't see it, but it's coming. It's gathering. It's growing stronger every single day. You refuse to quit. You just need to keep going long enough for the momentum to break through. And don't let comparison kill your motion. That's one of the biggest traps. You look around and see someone else who's farther ahead, and now suddenly you question your pace. You start doubting your path. Don't do that. Don't measure your momentum by someone else's journey. Their starting line wasn't your starting line. Their terrain ain't your terrain. Your responsibility is to keep moving forward. Act your pace with your rhythm for your purpose. Because the moment you slow down to watch somebody else, you lose momentum. Stay in your lane, lock in, push forward. Let me give you something practical. Track your progress. Write it down. Reflect on it, celebrate it. Because when you see how far you've come, you realize how powerful your momentum really is. Some of you are doing more than you think, but because you never stop to recognize it, you don't feel the momentum. You're moving, but you're not mentally registering it, so it feels like you're stuck. You're not stuck. You're just blind to your own growth. Open your eyes, take inventory. That streak you've been on, that discipline you built, that's your momentum. Use it. Now, I'm not saying every day will feel good. I'm not saying you won't hit resistance. But momentum isn't about perfection. It's about not stopping. You can slow down. You can slow down. You can stop. You don't go back to zero. That's the key. Keep the engine running. Even if you got to crawl some days, you don't turn off the ignition because the cost of starting over is too high. The energy it takes to rebuild momentum is greater than the energy it takes to maintain it. So protect your progress. Defend your consistency like your life depends on, because in many ways, it does. People ask me, Ed, how do you stay fired up? I stay fired up because I don't stop. I don't give my emotions time to talk me out of it. I don't let doubt park in my driveway. I keep moving. I've learned that motion is the medicine. You want more confidence? Get in motion. You want more clarity? Get in motion. You want more opportunities? Get in motion. Because life responds to movement. The doors don't open for people who are sitting around hoping. They open for people who are already walking toward them. So here's the challenge. Start today. Don't wait. Don't plan for it. Don't overthink it. Do one thing that pushes you forward. Just one. Just one. And tomorrow do it again. Stack those days. Stack those wins. Build that rhythm. Create that engine. And once the momentum hits, ride it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Momentum is everything. And once you got it, protect it like gold. Because when you move with momentum, you don't just chase success, starts chasing you. Self-recognition is fuel. I'm telling you right now, too many of you are waiting for the world to clap for you before you even clap for yourself. You grinding. You stand up late, waking up early, putting in the work, sacrificing. And yet you don't even acknowledge your own effort. You don't even stop for a second to say, yo, I did that. You just keep moving from one task to the next like a machine, wondering why you feel empty, wondering why you feel burned out, wondering why the fire is fading. Let me give it to you straight. If you don't learn how to fuel yourself, you will run out of gas. You will burn out. You will quit. Because motivation is not always going to come from the outside. Some days it won't come at all. So what do? You recognize you. You recognize you. You clap for you. You look in the mirror and say, I showed up today. I kept my word today. I made progress today. That acknowledgement, that recognition, it's not ego, it's energy. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Because when you take time to see your effort, to appreciate your own discipline, your own fight, you light a fire inside of you that can't be put out by other people's silence. See, the problem is we've been taught to only celebrate the big things, the graduation, the promotion, the finish line. But I'm telling you right now, if you wait for the big moment to recognize yourself, you'll miss 99% of your life. Because greatness isn't built on the finish line. Greatness is built in the middle. It's built in the dark, built in the grind that nobody sees. And if you can't learn how to clap for yourself in the dark, you won't last long enough to shine in the light. You need to understand something deep. You have value before the outcome. You have worth before the reward. That effort, that discipline, that consistency, that's the real win. That's the part you can control. You might not control how people respond. You might not control the results on the scoreboard, but you can control how hard you push. You can control how much you give. And every time you do, that deserves recognition. Not from them, from you. Some of y'all are out here doing the impossible every single day. You're holding your family down. You're going to school. You're working overtime. You're building something from scratch. You're staying sober. You're staying focused. And nobody's cheering. Nobody's giving you a medal. And that's okay, because you don't need a crowd to recognize your climb. You just need a mirror and the courage to say, I'm proud of me. Let me say that again. I'm proud of me. You've got to learn how to say that without stuttering, without shame, without hesitation. Because if you can't celebrate your progress, you'll always feel like a failure, even when you're winning. Don't confuse humility with invisibility. You think staying silent about your wins makes you humble, but all it does is make you invisible to yourself. It's not pride to acknowledge that you've grown. It's not arrogance to say you've improved. It's accountability. It's awareness. And it's necessary if you're going to keep going. Because the truth is, when you recognize your own growth, you give yourself permission to keep growing. When you honor your discipline, you reinforce your identity. You say to yourself, this is who I am now. I'm consistent. I'm focused. I'm a finisher. And when that becomes your identity, your habits follow. Your mindset follows. Your mindset follows. Your life follows. I'm telling you, if you could see what I see in you, if you could see your own resilience, your own strength, you stop doubting yourself. You stop waiting for someone to validate you. You realize that every day you show up and don't quit, that's a celebration. Every time you get back up after falling, that's a win. Every time you do what you said you do, even when you don't feel like it, that's legendary. But you gotta recognize it, you gotta speak on it. You gotta let that energy feed you. Because here's the thing, when you wait for someone else to recognize you, you give them power over your fuel tank. You give them control over your drive. What happens when they stop clapping? What happens when they forget you? You stall out. You stop pushing. And that's the trap. That's the reason people fall off, because they never learn how to clap for themselves. They never learn how to celebrate the process. Don't make that mistake. Don't let your momentum be controlled by outside applause. You've got to build your own soundtrack. You've got to hype yourself up when nobody else is around. Listen, some days the only voice you'll hear is your own. So make sure that voice is speaking life. Make sure it's speaking strength. Make sure it's saying, let's go. You got this. Look how far you've come. You don't need a trophy to prove you're progressing. You need honesty. You need awareness. You need to pause and reflect and say, I'm not where I used to be. I might not be where I want to be yet, but I'm moving. I'm growing. I'm learning. I'm better than I was last week. That's the kind of recognition that keeps you going. That's the kind of fuel that lasts. Because it's not based on trends or likes or praise. It's based on truth. Your truth. And your truth is, you're doing more than you think. You're stronger than you know. But you'll never feel that if you keep brushing it off. You'll never walk in power if you keep ignoring your progress. You've got to feel your growth. You've got to own your growth. You've got to let your growth energize you. I don't care if nobody else saw it. You saw it. You know how hard that was. You know how much strength it took to keep going. You know how close you were to quitting, and yet you're still standing. That's worth celebrating. You woke up and chose discipline. You woke up and chose purpose. You chose the grind. That counts. That matters. That deserves your recognition. I need you to stop waiting for someone to tell you you're enough. I need you to stop waiting for someone to validate your grind. You validate it. You confirm it. You celebrate it. Because once you recognize your own greatness in the small things, you become unstoppable in the big things. Once you start fueling yourself with self-recognition, you don't need permission to keep going. You give yourself permission. Self-recognition is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's not optional. It's survival. It's how you stay in the game when it's hard. It's how you keep climbing when you're tired. It's how you stay aligned with who you said you wanted to be. So from now on, every time you show up, you take a second and say, oh, well done. Every time you grow, you say that's progress. Every time you stick to the plan, you say that's power. And you let that fuel you. Because at the end of the day, nobody can pour into you like you can. Nobody can hype you like you can. Nobody can fuel your fire like you can. And once you learn how to fuel yourself, you'll never run on empty again. Consistency compounds. I need you to feel that. I need you to let that settle in your spirit. I'm not talking about one-time grind. I'm not talking about showing up once and hoping it pays off. I'm talking about showing up over and over again, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it looks like nothing's changing. Because what you do consistently, not occasionally, determines your results. It builds your future. It shapes your identity. And let me tell you something, the people you admire, the people who made it, the people who rose up from nothing, they didn't do it all in one good day. They didn't win because they had one lucky break. They won because they kept going when most people stopped. Every single day you show up and put in the work, you're making a deposit. Even if it's small, even if it feels like it didn't move the needle, you are building something bigger than you can see. You are laying the foundation brick by brick, and while it might look like nothing to the world right now, one day it's gonna stack. One day that wall you've been building is gonna stand tall. One day the compound effect is gonna hit, but only if you stay with it. See, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they don't have potential. They fail because they don't have patience. They start strong, but they stop too soon. They quit before the harvest. They walk away while the seeds are still in the ground. I'm here to tell you, don't dig up and doubt what you planted in faith. If you've been grinding, if you've been consistent, if you've been pushing and showing up, keep going. The results are coming. The momentum is coming. The shift is coming. You've just got to outlast the waiting period. Success isn't sexy at first. It's not shiny. It's not fast. Slow. It's repetitive. It's waking up every day and doing what needs to be done. Even when nobody notices, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results are invisible. But let me break it down for you. That invisible progress is still progress. That internal growth, that discipline, that routine is shaping your future. And one day, all of it will come together like a tidal wave. One day, you'll look back and realize that every small action compounded into something massive. You want to be great? Then stop chasing motivation and start chasing habits. Stop chasing inspiration and start chasing consistency. You don't need to feel good to do good. You don't need hype to make progress. You need a system. You need discipline because discipline will take you places that motivation can't. And when you do the right thing over and over and over and over again, even when it's uncomfortable, that's when the results start to multiply. It's like a bank account. If you save $1 a day, at first it looks like nothing. People laugh. People doubt. But then a week goes by, a month, a year, and all of a sudden you got something substantial. Why? Because you stayed with it. You didn't quit. You let it build. You let it grow. That's how consistency works. It's the same with your body. It's the same with your mind. It's the same with your goals. Whatever you invest in daily will eventually produce a return. But the return doesn't come to the inconsistent. It comes to the committee. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. I know you feel like giving up. I know it's hard to keep doing the right thing when nothing seems to be changing. But listen to me. This is when it counts the most. This is when you separate yourself from everyone else. Because anybody can show up once. Anybody can have a good week. But very few people can do it day in, day out. When it's not glamorous, when it's not fun, when it's just grind. And that's where the breakthroughs are built. That's where the excellence is formed. That's where the character is developed. You've got to understand consistency doesn't just build outcome. It builds you. It changes who you are. Every time you stick to your routine, every time you honor your commitment, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. You're building identity, and identity shapes destiny. Because when you become the kind of person who doesn't quit, who doesn't negotiate with excuses, who doesn't disappear when it's tough, you win. Every single time, you win. People ask me all the time, how do I stay motivated? And I tell them, you stay disciplined. You build routines that carry you when motivation dies. You build systems that keep you moving even when your feelings say stop. Because if you rely on how you feel, you'll fail. But if you rely on who you become, you'll succeed. And you become strong, you become focused, you become resilient. Not by talking about it, but by doing it over and over and over. Let me tell you something else. Life is watching. The universe is watching. God is watching. God is watching. And they don't reward talent, they reward consistency. They don't reward big promises. They reward small actions done faithfully. So every time you wake up early, every time you hit that workout, every time you stick to your plan, you're saying, I'm ready, I'm serious, I'm committed. And eventually the reward comes, not right away, not instantly, but inevitably. You might not feel like it's working, but I promise you something is shifting. You're planting roots. You're building stamina. You're increasing your threshold for greatness. You're separating yourself from average. Most people give up when they don't see results. But you're different. You understand the long game. You understand the marathon, and you understand that what you do today matters, even if you don't see it till tomorrow. So don't stop, don't slack. Don't get distracted. Every choice counts. Every habit compounds. Every sacrifice pays off. But only if you stay in the game. Only if you keep showing up. Because consistency isn't just about what you're doing. It's about who you're becoming. And who you're becoming is stronger than your struggle. Bigger than your doubts. Greater than your past. You got everything you need inside you right now to succeed. But it won't happen all at once. It'll happen inch by inch, rep by rep, day by day. That's how you build a legacy. That's how you make a difference. That's how you change your life. That's how you change your life. And it starts with one small consistent action repeated 1,000 times. That's the formula. That's the secret. That's the compound effect. And that's the truth. So I need you to promise me something. No matter what happens, no matter how slow it feels, no matter how quiet it gets, you will not stop. You will not quit. You will not break the chain. Because you've come too far to go back now. You work too hard to stop short. And everything you want is waiting on the other side of consistency. You want to win, then commit. You want to grow, then keep going. You want to change your life, then do the work every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's silent, even when it doesn't make sense. Because one day it's all going to add up. One day you'll see that every drop of sweat, every second of sacrifice, every ounce of discipline, it was all compounding into something unstoppable, something undeniable, something legendary. Consistency compound. Never forget that. Celebrate progress, not perfection. That's the message I want to leave you with. I need you to hear me on this. So too many of you are walking around feeling defeated. Not because you haven't grown. Not because you haven't made moves. But because you're comparing where you are to where you think you should be. You're looking at the mountaintop and forgetting to acknowledge how far you've already climbed. You're obsessing over what's missing instead of celebrating what's been built. And I'm here to tell you that mindset is keeping you from your breakthrough. See, perfection is a lie. It's an illusion. It's a standard that doesn't exist. You're chasing something that can never be caught. And while you're busy chasing flawless, you're missing the real beauty of the journey. You're overlooking your growth. You're skipping over your progress. You're ignoring the fact that you're not where you used to be. You're stronger. You're wiser. You come through storms that could have taken you out, but you're still here. And that deserves to be celebrated. I'm not saying settle. I'm not saying lower the bar. I'm saying take a moment to recognize your grind. Take a moment to appreciate that you're moving. Even if you're not moving fast. Even if you're not moving fast. You're moving. Perfect. You're moving. You're not where you want to be yet, but you're sure as hell not where you started. And that matters. That's a win. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The problem is we live in a world that praises the highlight reel. You scroll through your phone and all you see is success. All you see is the final product, the six-pack abs, the luxury cars, the awards, the applause. But nobody shows the late nights, the tears, the doubts, the setbacks. Nobody shows the messy middle. And that's where most of life happens. That's where transformation takes place. That's where real champions are born, in the quiet spaces where you fall and get back up again and again and again. You've got to stop beating yourself up for not being perfect. You got to stop punishing yourself for being human. You think your flaws disqualify you, but I'm telling you, they make you real. They make you relatable. They make your story powerful. Because when you win despite the flaw, despite the failures, despite the odds, that's what inspires people, not the perfection. The progress, that's what makes the journey worth sharing. Let me tell you something. If you only celebrate the finish line, you're going to miss out on most of your life. Because most of your life is the in-between. Most of your growth happens in the process. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to feel proud. Stop waiting for perfection to give yourself permission to be happy. Start looking at what you've overcome. Start measuring your journey by how far you've come, not how far you have to go. That's where your power lives. You used to procrastinate everything. Now you get up and push yourself even when it's hard. That's progress. You used to run from pain. Now you face it. That's growth. You used to make excuses. Now you take responsibility. That's evolution. Don't act like it's nothing. Don't act like that doesn't count. That counts more than you know. That's what builds the character. That's what builds the foundation. That's what shapes your future. Every time you show up when you feel like quitting, that's a win. Every time you do one more rep, one more hour, one more step, that's progress. It may not be pretty, it may not be perfect, but it's real. And real beats perfect every single time because real gets result. Real makes impact. Real inspires change. You want to grow? Then learn to clap for yourself at every stage. Learn to say, I'm proud of myself, even when you're not at the top yet. Learn to find joy in the end of the effort, not just the outcome. Because if you don't, you'll never feel fulfilled. You'll always be chasing, always be striving, never satisfied, never enough. That's not success. That's burnout. That's pain disguised as ambition. You deserve better than that. You were built for more than that. This journey you're on is not about being the best overnight. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about small wins stacked up over time until one day you look back and don't even recognize the old you. That's progress. That's transformation. But it only happens when you give yourself grace along the way. Grace doesn't mean you stop trying. Grace doesn't mean you make excuses. Grace means you recognize your humanity. You see the effort. You celebrate the climb. You honor the work even when it's imperfect. Because progress isn't linear. It's messy. It's jagged. It's up and down. But as long as you keep moving forward, you're winning. Let me ask you something. What would happen if you started cheering for yourself the way you cheer for others? What would happen if you stopped minimizing your milestones and started honoring your growth? What would happen if you stopped discrediting your journey because it doesn't look like someone else's? I'll tell you what would happen. You feel empowered. You feel confident. You feel like you're finally enough right now as you are. And that feeling, that's what fuels momentum. That's what keeps you going. I've seen too many people give up, not because they weren't making progress, but because they didn't see it, because they didn't acknowledge it, because they were so focused on perfection, they missed their own evolution. Don't let that be you. Don't let the pursuit of a perfect image rob you of the joy of real growth. You've got to shift your mindset. Stop asking, why am I not there yet? And start asking, how far have I come? Start tracking your development. Start journaling your breakthroughs. Start documenting your daily victories. Because when you see the progress, you stay encouraged. When you stay encouraged, you stay consistent. And when you stay consistent, you win. Every single time. Look, life is short. Don't waste it waiting for a perfect version of yourself to arrive before you love who you are. You're already powerful. You're already becoming. You're already winning. Celebrate that. Own that. Walk in that. Because when you learn to celebrate progress, you free yourself from the chains of perfection. You step into purpose. You step into peace. You step into a future that isn't built on pressure, but on passion. So keep climbing, keep growing, keep evolving. And every step of the way, celebrate it, celebrate showing up, celebrate pushing through, celebrate learning, celebrate failing forward. Because this journey is about more than just a destination. It's about who you become along the way. And trust me, who you're becoming is worth celebrating. Don't let perfection steal your joy. Don't let unrealistic standards break your spirit. You're doing better than you think. You're making more progress than you realize. And the more you celebrate that progress, the stronger you get. The more resilient you become. The more unstoppable your mindset grows. Progress over perfection every single time. That's how you win. Let me speak directly to your heart one last time. You've been climbing. You've been grinding. You've been fighting battles most people will never see. And I know sometimes it feels like no one notices. Sometimes it feels like your effort is invisible. Like your journey doesn't matter unless it ends in a trophy, in a check, in applause. But I need you to hear me right now. Your effort matters. Your grind matters. Your small wins matter. And if nobody else claps for you, you better learn to clap for yourself. Life is not about one giant moment of success. Life is a collection of ordinary moments done with extraordinary effort. It's that early morning where you woke up tired, but still got to work. It's that night you stayed in and studied while others party. It's the day you chose discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, integrity over shortcuts. That's the real stuff. That's the foundation. And it is worth being proud of. You see, we're so used to chasing the finish line that we forget how to enjoy the run. We're so focused on being number one that we lose sight of becoming better. And I'm telling you, that mindset, that constant pressure, that obsession with being perfect, that's the very thing stopping you from being great. Because greatness is not about flawlessness. Greatness is about consistency. It's about getting up every day and giving your best, even when your best doesn't look like theirs. It's about showing up when it's hard, when it's dark, believing when no one else does. Let me tell you something real. Every giant leap you'll ever take in life is made possible by the small steps you take daily. Every championship is built in the practice nobody sees. Every record is broken because someone kept going on days when it felt pointless. That's why I need you to pause sometimes. Not to stop, but to reflect. To see that you made it through some stuff, to recognize that you're no longer the same. To acknowledge that the version of you standing here today is stronger, smarter, more resilient than the one from yesterday. And that is a win. That is what progress looks like. Listen to me. Don't minimize your transformation just because it's quiet. Don't downplay your development just because it doesn't come with fanfare. There's power in the process. There's beauty in the becoming. And I promise you, the version of you that you're working toward, that person is being shaped right now in the trenches. That future you is born through the small wins you're stacking every single day. One choice at a time. One moment at a time. One challenge at a time. I need you to remember something. Winning isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with a standing ovation. Sometimes winning is silent. Sometimes winning is keeping a promise to yourself. Sometimes winning is walking away from what no longer serves you. Sometimes winning is simply making it through the day when everything inside you said quit. And if that's all you did today, you won. If you showed up when you didn't feel like it, you won. If you chose to believe in yourself even a little bit, you won. That's what we're celebrating. That's what matters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to lower your standards. I'm not saying don't dream big. I'm not saying settle. No, dream so big it scares you. Set goals that stretch you. Chase visions that wake you up early and keep you up late. But in your pursuit of greatness, do not become blind to the greatness already inside you. Do not ignore the fact that you are building something brick by brick. Do not forget that strength is forged, not gifted. And every rep you put in, every early morning, every late night, that's you forging your legacy. Look around you. Take a deep breath. You're still standing. You've been through things that try to break you. You carried burdens that would have crushed others, but you're still here, still learning, still becoming. That's worth celebrating. I don't care if the world doesn't see it yet. I don't care if they don't applaud you. You see it, you know it, and you better honor it. Let me be real, life will test you. Life will try to convince you that you're behind, that you're not enough, that success is this distant thing reserved for others. But that's a lie. Success starts with mindset. It starts with gratitude. It starts with recognizing how far you've already come. If you can't appreciate a step, you'll never value a summit. If you can't find peace in progress, you'll never feel fulfilled, no matter what you achieve. That's why I'm urging you to build the habit of celebration, not just for the big things, but for the everyday victories. Start keeping track of your wins. Speak them out loud. Write them down. Tell yourself, I did that. Even if nobody claps, clap for yourself. Because when you make celebrating small wins a lifestyle, you begin to rewire your thinking. You train your brain to find success instead of failure. You shift from self-doubt to self-trust, from criticism to confidence. And that shift is the secret to momentum. You don't need to be perfect to be proud. You don't need to arrive before you celebrate. You are work in progress, and that is beautiful. The road to mastery, the path to purpose, the journey to joy, it's not built on massive moments. It's built on small, deliberate steps taken with faith and fire. And if you can recognize the power in those steps, you'll never lose your drive. So I'm challenging you today, not just to dream big, but to honor your small steps. Not just to aim high, but to applaud the climb. Start seeing your effort as valuable. Start seeing your growth as meaningful. Start seeing your small wins as the seeds of something much greater. And if you do that, if you truly do that, there's nothing that can stop you. Because the ones who win long term, they're not the ones who sprint. They're the ones who pace themselves, the ones who build habits, the ones who stay hungry, stay humble, and celebrate along the way. They know it's not about reaching perfection. It's about staying in motion. It's about waking up with purpose, going to bed with pride, and trusting that every day of effort is one step closer to the dream. And you, my friend, you are on that path. You're walking it. You're building something real. And I celebrate you for that. I honor you for that. Keep pressing. Keep pushing. Keep progressing. The world may not see it yet, but greatness is being built, one small win at a time. So don't wait for the world to validate your success. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The moment is now. The journey is now. The celebration is now. Because the small wins you honor today, they're the foundation of the greatness you'll walk in tomorrow. And when you look back a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you won't just see the trophy. You'll see every step you took, every sacrifice you made, every small victory you chose to honor when no one else was looking. And that's what will make it all worth it. So stand tall, breathe deep. Say it with me. I am proud of my progress. I celebrate every step. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep moving. Is that right there? That's how you win. That's how you live. That's how you rise. Celebrate small wins always.